Yo, Wyatt begins in like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Wyatt, and I'm your host, Wyatt O'Brien Evans. Grrr, woof, goddammit, woof, 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 woof. Hey, before I go any further, I gotta give a shout out to my podcast producer guru, Esteban. Hell yeah. Esteban routinely delivers one hell of a amazingly awesome quality production. And he's responsible for the show's kick-ass musical intros and outros. Thank you, Mr. Esteban. Oh yeah. My listeners. Today's installment of Wyatt is the latest in my series called Bedtime with Porn Guys. Let me say it again. Bedtime with Porn Guys. Now look, I'm doing this special series because adult entertainment or porn can be a fundamental part in the lives of more than a few gay or SGL, same gender loving men. And at times, watching porn can be the safest way of scratching that itch, if you catch my drift. Well, my listeners, today's porn guy is a deliciously masculine, muscled and chiseled bodybuilder. He's tantalizingly versatile in more ways than one. I mean, he's taken the gay SGL adult entertainment universe by storm and setting it on fire. Well, just who is our porn guy of the hour? Well, he'll come along in just a few minutes. Hey, after my show, visit my online home, WyattEvans.com. That's WyattEvans.com. The go-to destination for LGBTQ news, features, commentary, and entertainment. WyattEvans.com is visited by over 100 countries on the regular. All I can say is, yeah, baby. And at WyattEvans.com, you will find my smoking hot, HAWT hot, Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels. Now, the current installment is titled Frenzy! I said frenzy, which is chock full of masculine romance, intrigue, danger, and the blazing heat of a million suns of erotic passion and steaming nastiness. Okay. A program note. My off and on sidekick, Madam Pussy Galore, Cock-a-doodle-doo, Drag Queen Supreme, will not be with us today. Why? Well, you remember what happened last week. She's rather miffed and in a tiff because I called her out on her failed book tour, only selling 8 copies of a book. Can you believe that? Well, Madam should return next week, unfortunately. Enough of that. It's high time to introduce our very special guest. Although this gentleman has only been in the adult entertainment game for a few scant years, he's already made one hell of a impression, one big ass splash. Now, this actor is red hot and versatile, appearing in both gay SGL and bisexual productions. Yeah. In his short time in the biz, he's become this prolific and highly in-demand performer. However, there's so much more to him than meets the eye. He's overcome daunting obstacles to become the man he is today. Now, he's going to share his story with us, which is startling, riveting, and compelling. That's why this time out, I'm going to pretty much shut the hell up, which will be sort of a new experience for me. Help me, Jesus. Jesus, help me, Jesus. Keep my mouth closed, Jesus. Oh, yes, my Jesus. Yes, help me, Jesus. Well, without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Draven Navarro. Talk at me. How the hell are ya?
Hey, how are you? I'm doing well. I'm just working, keeping busy and stuff. But how are you doing?
I am doing great, Draven. Thank you so much for dropping by, Wyatt. I really appreciate it.
Right on.
Now, Poppy, you are smoking hot on the screen.
Thank you.
What I really like, what what I really like about you is that you're very verbal, you're very expressive, you're very passionate. You really, and I do mean really, jump into the action. You lose yourself, you bring the scene to life. See, I could be your PR guy.
Right? Yeah, you're hyping me up here.
Yeah. So what do you think about that?
I think you probably have to take more than 10%, huh?
Oh, yeah. Listen, I like the way you think already.
I know how it goes in the business. Everybody's got to make something. I get it.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now you're relatively new to the adult entertainment scene, like nearly 4 years in, correct?
Yes, about that almost.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, now look, because inquiring minds want to know, give us your stats, your height, your weight, all that great stuff.
Yeah, I'm currently stand about like 5'7", 5'8" on a good day. And I'm about like 190, 200 pounds, fluctuate between that on if I'm bulking or cutting up. And I'm Mexican Italian ethnicity. And besides that, I mean, tattoos. I used to have not a lot of piercings, but my nipples and my dick and stuff like that. But since being through the military, stuff like that, I had to take things out, and that's how it goes. But besides that, it's just trying to do bodybuilding. So just trying to keep my the best physique I can obtain with the lifestyle that I am living, traveling a lot, being on the road. It's difficult to not only eat correctly, but get your workout times in as well. I mean, porn is definitely cardio. I'm sweating my butt off a lot of the time, like sweating on other talent. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, like wipe my sweat off. But that's how it goes. And it's not, they try to make it look as pretty as possible. So, props to post-production as well.
Well, cool. We're going to get into the process of, a porn production. And speaking of dick, what are you packing, my friend?
About 8 inches cut.
Cool.
Right there. Yeah.
All right. Now, a little bit later, we're going to do a deep dive into Cake Shop. I love that title. My listeners, Cake Shop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of your recent nasty hot, HAWT hot features.
Yeah.
Produced by Rage and Stallion, the premier gay SGL adult entertainment studio. And I want to give a special shout out and a thank you to Mr. Toby Morris, who is VP of Sales and Marketing over there, Raging Stallion, Falcon, Naked Sword. He put this together.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it. He's a great guy, very patient, and he connected us. And I really want to thank him for that.
Yeah, everyone over there is really cool. I have really good experience with everyone from, Steve Cruz was directing that, and everyone on set was it was just fun to be around. Like, we really were just acting goofy, but getting stuff done, you know, because you're hanging out with your friends. So it's like, it's fun to be on set, but you're like, okay, let's knock this out. Because like Steve's able to like, direct of like, okay, come on. Like, because you're like herding cats a lot of the times with performers, it's like people are like on their phones or doing other things. So it's nice to have someone being like, okay, let's get this done. And then, but it's fun to work. It's knowing that you're able to do it within an environment that everyone's safe, everyone's tested, and holding that test to value, as in like keeping the integrity of that, not like getting tested and then going out to wherever and doing whatever and coming back and being like, yeah, my test is still good. But yeah, so it's good to work with people like that, to where I can be my slutty self and
love it,
and have a good time with it, and really like put myself into the situations and like the roles that they give us. So it makes me feel like, I don't know, just like fun and like goofy. Like it's like that on set sometimes. So.
I love it because, I had Killian Knox on some time ago, a little while ago, and he said pretty much the same thing about Raging Stallion. So yeah, it's a good place to do that thing. Yeah.
Good group of guys. I mean, like, I'm just, like I said, everyone from, behind the scenes has always been really, really nice to me and so sweet. And, like, do you need this? Do you need that? And they always have stuff like munch on food because I'm always hungry. So I'm like constantly eating and stuff. And so it's
you're
nice.
Burning calories.
Telling me it's difficult sometimes to like try to eat as much as I can, but then, I'm bottoming or something like that. So I'm like, okay, like calm down on the food consumption for a little bit, and try to, make sure I'm good, because I don't want to have any incidences on set, and that would be very embarrassing.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. You've said, and I quote, I hope that guys that watch my videos can find self-love and self-acceptance pertaining to sexuality, end quote. Now, that's intriguing, kind of profound. So let's drill down on that.
Yes, please. I mean, from that statement that I had said, growing up in a, being Hispanic and Italian, like you grow up in a certain household where you have to be this man, and you have to fit in this certain box that society and like your friends and peer pressure and everyone in school and whatever wants you to fit into. And if you don't, then you get pushed out. And so trying to conform to those rules that I felt I was given really caused me to limit my exploration on my sexuality and what I really felt I wanted to explore, but I was too afraid to explore it. And, it took me a while throughout my life to reach that point where I came to the realization that these other people that I feel I need their validation, they are not paying my bills. They're not,
right.
Doing whatever for me. So why do I care? And it took me a while to like probably my mid-20s is when I first started exploring with guys, and it was really fun. But I just was like, oh my gosh, like I don't know, like you always feel like I have to be this person, and
right.
After a while of trying to fit in, it's nice to see other guys that I could relate to. Like when I was first started like watching porn, it was mostly like kink.com back in the day, where they had like boys that they would like tie up and bring into a bar, and like but you would like use them and like have them like crawling around and stuff and doing all sorts of dirty things. And I'm like, I want to do that. And it's funny because like now that I'm working in the industry, I'm running into people that I had seen prior. So like Brian Bonds, Leo Forte, like some of those guys that have been around for a while. Like I've developed relationships with them as friends on my off time as well. And it's like, holy crap, like these guys are really cool. And it's kind of like fanboyish of being like, oh my gosh, like I know who you are. So like that was nice to have those guys as like seeing like a masculine man being like sucking dick and getting fucked and stuff like that, and be like, they still maintain their masculinity, and what they do sexually doesn't affect that masculinity. They are who they are. And so it was empowering to see that. So that's what I'm really trying to go for as well, is like someone may relate to me as like, oh, that's like, you know, he sounds like my, you know, best friend, or like that sounds kind of like whatever. Maybe I can do that. And that's all I'm really trying to do, is just give people like the visual, like scene to say, hey, like you can do this, and it's not like, doesn't change who you are. Like you're still the same person, but I mean, what you do in your off times, no one's business. And you know, but you know, realistically, it's nice to feel not to feel alone. I guess that's kind of how I look at it. It was like, I'm not the only weird one out there. Like I like to light up and spend.
And you know what? Life is not a dress rehearsal. And people really need to keep that in mind. Now, let's do this. Let's travel down the corridors of time to clue our audience on your backstory. Now, you are, like you said, you're a Latino Irish.
It's Italian.
I'm sorry. Gotcha. Italian Irish. And you were born
Italian Latino.
Listen, where's my head today? Okay. I apologize.
It's all good.
Okay. Yes. Okay. You were born and raised in LA by your mom and your grandmother.
Yes. My father was always in and out of the incarceration system.
Oh, man.
For heroin and other, you know, mischievous little things to get money in order to get drugs. But you know, that was another thing, is like I had like uncles and stuff, but not having like a positive like male influence of like seeing someone like actually, you know, provide and do well for themselves and like chase the dreams that they want. That kind of left me of like, oh, like how do I navigate this? And luckily I had strong women in my life, where my mother was always working. She was like a secretary at like doctor's office. And then my grandmother, she actually is, funny enough, she used to work at Pizza Hut. And,
really?
Yes. Okay. She'd work in the morning. So she would make the dough when they used to make the dough. And I remember, like, she would drop me off at the bus stop across the street, and then she would work. And then when I'd get off from school, I'd walk across, and then we'd leave together. And so it was nice to have that. Like, she was really a good friend. And I was really, I'm really appreciative to have had that time with my grandma, because not a lot of people, you know, have that time to spend with their family. And, but yeah, that's, you know, I grew up in a smaller town out in the Los Angeles County area, and skateboarding kid. And that's pretty much what my deal was. I didn't really want to do like sports that were like team sports. Like all my were skateboarders, and all my cousins, like we all just would get into trouble. We'd be like drinking 40s and like smoking weed, and then, you know, going to skate like some of the schools that were closed at the time or something, getting chased off by security or the cops, and used to get into fights a lot. Like I just was reckless. I felt that I guess I felt angry with not having the love and appreciation I felt that I wanted. And, you know, I don't know. I just really found that escape with drugs and alcohol at an early age. And that was it was, I think, a bad thing and a good thing. Like bad that, hey, I had to kind of experience those things when I was younger, but good that I felt that I was with my family during that time frame and a lot. So I had that support of people that, were able to really like push me into a different direction instead of when I was older and I could be alone and doing dumb shit. And, but yeah, I mean, it's from there, that was like high school, everything like that. And then I joined the Navy when I was 18, after high school. And then that's when I had to really, well, it was different because like I stopped smoking weed and everything, but alcohol consumption, of course, went up during that time frame. And being in the military, everyone drinks for the most part, and everyone. And like when I was a medic for the Marine Corps, so like when you hang out with the Marines, like they're a special group of guys. I love them. They get rowdy and like they'll be bringing alcohol in the field, and we'll be into fist fights because I didn't like we were messing around putting cami paint on all our faces one night to scare the younger Marines, and one of the sergeants was like, "Put cami paint on your teeth," and I was like, "No, I'm not going to do that." And then we end up getting into a fist fight in like the middle of the field because I didn't want to. So little things like that, we were like, it's macho, the masculinity, like machismo of guys, where it's like, well, I have to be the alpha male, blah. And that was really, I think, an eye opener as well. Learning how to have tact, how to speak to people as well, like how to diffuse situations and not escalate them. Especially dealing with the Marines, like I was their medic, but I was also like their best friend. Like they'd be knocking on my door, not only because they were hurt or they're hungover, but like, oh, like my girlfriend just left me or whatever. And they're like all upset. And it was all of that combined really built the camaraderie of having that relationship with people in the military. And it was nice to have that because it made you feel not as alone. Like you're, if you're deployed, like I was in Okinawa for a number of years and we're like deployed all over. So when you have those group of guys that you're able to have that same kind of experience with, and you're able to share those heartaches and really good times as well, then it's, I feel it's a more rounded relationship that you develop. And I felt like, funny enough, a lot of the guys that I work with, we have that same type of relationship because it's that, we see each other on set all the time, like different sets, like, oh my gosh, like, you're over here, you're in LA. Oh, you're here in San Francisco, San Diego, and Vegas, wherever. And like, it's just fun to like, you don't really know till like last minute sometimes and you're like, who's going to show up on set? And it's nice to
right.
Oh, it's my friend. And you get to BS with them, tell them what's been going on recently with you, maybe make plans, like, go out to dinner after your scene or something. And it's just nice to develop those relationships. And throughout the few years that I've been doing this, building those relationships with the other guys have been somewhat challenging in some areas, but also very rewarding. I mean, when I hate to change the subject around again, but like when I first started doing porn, that was with Next Door Studios, and how it all kind of came together was funny enough. Marky Moore, who was one of their exclusives at the time, he was a prior Marine, and they're both big potheads. So like when I showed up on set, he found out I was a medic from Marine Corps. So like we hit it off, boom, perfectly there. And then we both smoked a bunch of weed. So we were like besties. And he's like, if you want to do this, like I can, you're going to have to move out to Vegas or LA. And we can't, realistically, they can't be flying you out here all the time. Like you're brand new. We'll probably do this once, but for future work, you're going to have to be out here. And he was able to help me out with like who I shouldn't be working for, who I should work for, like what studios test, what studios. Like I'm brand new to this whole world. So it was nice to have someone to say like, hey, like I'll help you out a little bit, like kind of steer you into the somewhat right direction, put you in touch with the right people. And then I started meeting people like Pierce Paris, Lance Hart. I mean, there's a bunch of people out here that Colby Jensen, Ricky Larkin, like a bunch of these guys that live in Vegas that really have a good group of guys where we can hang out sometimes if we're in town, or, you know, if someone's, you know, having a bad day or something, be like, hey, like, come on, where are you at? Like, I'll pick you up. Let's go to the casino, or let's go go get some food, or, you know, just go to the gym or something.
Gotcha.
Let
nice.
me,
yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. You developed this camaraderie, which is great. Let's swing back to your military experience. You were, I believe that in 2005 through 2006, you were deployed to Iraq, and you had an experience that was life-changing for you.
Yeah, there was a couple of them. Like I said, being a medic is a different job. But, you know, those moments that things happen and you are the only person there to like get them to the next echelon of care. It's very, it's fast at the time, but then later, you know, you sit and think about things on like what you could have done differently, and like if you did it correctly, and what's going to happen to that person, and if it's someone's brother or if it's someone's dad or whatever. And yeah, it was this was 2005. This was it was random enough that my grandmother that had raised me, she had passed away.
Oh wow! Okay,
when I was out there in Iraq, and she had passed away from leukemia. And,
oh man, I'm sorry.
I was not there during like the really decline. My mother was, and my younger sister were there as well. But I, you know, the memories I have of her, you know, has always been like she's been very happy and whatever. Yeah. So during that time frame, we were in the chow hall, and they have rocket attacks that happen so often.
Wow.
You just don't know how things go. So like where they're going to land pretty much. And wound up hitting like right outside the chow hall, and like feeling the waves go through, like knocking people over in their chairs. And then hearing people like screaming for medics and stuff. Like it was those moments where, you know, you see, you know, it doesn't matter if they're American or whatever they are. Everyone on this earth has a life, and they have relatives and families, and we can all relate to that. And losing someone, you know, over realistically, you know, I really believed in, you know, we're doing this for these reasons and that. But when you get out there and you see like how things are, like money is distributed, and how some people don't get any money, or like it goes to certain people, it's defense contracts are really shady business. And not realizing that till I got out there. And the reason why we are younger, poor people in the United States are going out to foreign countries in order to die. Someone else's defense contract really made me second guess what I'm doing with my life. And that was, you know, living for myself or living for someone else's approval. And that was like kind of circled back around to, you know, not needing that validation from someone else to be who I am. And just kind of having that, you know, YOLO fuck it mentality of like, you do only live one time. It's important to, you know, take advantage of the situation, and which is your life, and being able to explore those things.
You know what? First of all, we want to thank you for your service, because, you know, it's a tough job being in the military. I think after the Navy, you made it to San Antonio. Yes. And you attended community college, and then you began to perform at a local male review club. You must tell us about that.
So yeah, so like yeah, I got out, and well, kind of backstory before that was when I was stationed in the Seattle area. I was in the Puget Sound. Um, there's this club called, well, it's not there anymore, but it was called Centerfolds, and it was down off of Denny over near the Space Needle. And it was a full nude male review club. And so I had inquired to work about there. I got hired over there first, but it was more or less just getting that experience, I guess. I wasn't taking it as seriously of like making money.
Okay.
When I moved to Texas, this club called Hard Bodies is the name of the club. And
nice. Okay.
And they had a good group of guys that were like more experienced, like 10 years plus of been dancing. And so they knew how to make these acts on the computer using like wave formats and stuff like that. They knew how to do choreographed dance routines. They knew how to make props. They knew how to do all this sort of stuff in order to perform, weekly on the stage and make money with customers. So learning from those guys, well, also that was a very toxic masculine community as well, because everyone was so homophobic and but yet, we're running around in like these little bikini briefs, banana hammock things, and knee pads and tennis shoes. And that was kind of the look in Texas. And so you could do ground moves and stuff like that, like hump the floor, like whatever. And it was really learning about like how to get out of your comfort zone and going out there to say like, hey, how are you doing? I'm so-and-so. How y'all doing tonight? Because it was a ladies club. So it was all
that's
ladies.
Interesting.
The guys had to be accompanied by a woman, and they could only go up to a certain point in the bar. They couldn't come up and tip. So it was like that in Texas. Texas was, it was very like, it was like that. It was weird. So working in that environment, and then also doing go-going on the nights off, like working at some of the gay clubs around town, which was another issue with the bar owners. Like the straight club had problems with guys working at the gay clubs because they wanted to keep them exclusive to only that club, but yet they're paying us to be there. We have to pay them to be there, pay the house, plus pay the DJ every night. And then, you have to get customer clientele on the slow nights of like trying to get these ladies to come in and spend money and get lap dances. And then on the fast nights, you have bachelorette parties and birthday parties. So,
well, that sounded kind of complicated. Okay. Then I believe you got an offer that you couldn't refuse, and you made the move to Seattle. So, see, I'm trying to construct this timeline here because listen.
I just start going tangents.
No, look, listen. Don't worry about it, because your story is, as Mr. Spock on Star Trek would say, my brother. Your story is fascinating. But anyway, you got an offer that you couldn't refuse. Tell us about that.
So I was dancing at that club, but I was also doing some camming, and I had gotten approached to move up to the Seattle area, specifically the city of Oak Harbor, which is on Whidbey Island, and to move up there and live pretty much rent-free, just go to school.
Nice. Okay.
And, have my own little place. I don't have to worry about anything. So it was like, well, should I do this? Should I not? I flew up there a couple of times to check out the house, the whole living situation, and make sure everything's on the up and up. Seemed to be. So I decided to pack up my truck and my dog. I had a Rottweiler at the time named Samson, and decided to move up there to.
So this was a sugar daddy arrangement.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Definitely. And it, turned out to be, it was fun, but
Mm-hmm.
You know, Carrie, he always had a lot of coke around. And so
temptation, huh?
right, it turned into a lot of partying, and that in turn caused me to hang out with certain people that were distributing Oxycontins up in the Puget Sound, and they're like, "Why don't you make some money?" And I'm like, "This sounds like a great idea," and that was not a great idea. I ended up, both of us ended up getting hooked on oxys.
Oh no!
We were trying to get off and on, like Suboxone, methadone, and stuff for a number of years. I was up there for about almost 3 years or so, and at the end of that time, I got accepted to a couple different universities, like Washington State University and stuff.
Oh,
and,
great. Okay.
And so I was like, well, I'm gonna move then. So I'm like, I just want to end this, but ending it was difficult because Carrie had recently lost his job, he was doing UI and stuff, and then he had multiple suicide attempts when I was with him.
Oh man.
He started cutting himself, and then like he was like, I caught him a couple of times, like in the garage with the car running, windows rolled down and stuff.
Oh boy.
And it really hurt my heart because like being prior medical, like I thought I could fix someone. Like I thought I could do something, but it really comes down to like that person has to make themselves happy in order to make someone else happy. Like you can't, like you have to make sure you're good before. So anyways, that was on my birthday of 2012. I had gotten a U-Haul truck and started packing up all my stuff, and he came back with flowers and a bottle of alcohol for me. And when he saw the U-Haul truck, he flipped out and started like screaming at me out in the middle of the cul-de-sac, like calling me all these names and stuff. And then went into the bedroom and took a handgun and killed himself. And that was
what?
Yeah, I found him like a couple minutes later when I was going through all stuff, and like I just, seeing, like I thought he was just like put a pillow over his head and to like cry into it and stuff, but then like you come closer and then you see bullet hole and like the handgun next to him and stuff. It was just like surreal. Like I've seen people dead before, but it wasn't anyone that I like loved. Like I really cared. Yeah, it was. Of course. It was a lot different. Like when you're in Iraq, like you're doing a certain job and you kind of expect to see that in certain ways. Cause I mean, in your wartime situation, shit happens. But when it's something like this, it was really more of a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And that's when I really just like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? So like, I ended up just buying a bunch of oxys and just going on a big binge. And,
oh man,
that was like, after a month of doing that, cause I had to leave my Rottweiler with my friends. Cause I had I had to get an apartment. Cause, when his parents came in, they pretty much were like, okay, well, we're going to take over the house now. They locked up the house, all my stuff besides my clothes were still in there, and everything we bought together and stuff. But it was just kind of like I tried to have a clean break. And but my dog, my Rottweiler, ended up passing away like a month later from
God,
he was my kid. Like I got him in Okinawa,
of course.
And he was my baby. And so like that was a whole other thing. It was like one after the other. And then at that point I was to a point where I had tried slamming meth, and that I was at that point in my life, I was like, what am I doing? I'm supposed to be going to work on my bachelor's degree, and this is not where I should be. and school's about to start in like a few weeks. And so I called my mom and I was like, please give me a plane ticket, and flew me out to Los Angeles. I went to the VA hospital out there, West Los Angeles, detoxed out there, went through an inpatient program out in San Juan Capistrano, California, and then did sober living out in Newport Beach. Became the sober living house manager back in Dana Point. And then from there, I was working with my uncle and going to school and then managing the house. And then that's when I got accepted to University of Texas, San Antonio. And this guy that I've been talking to online a little bit was like, another, hey, why don't you move out here? But like, lucky enough, I had a support group as it was, but I wanted to kind of get away from that like masculine toxic community that I was mixed up in. And so I just strictly worked the go-go clubs and stuff like that. And had that boyfriend that I had for a little bit, and started at University of Texas San Antonio, and him and I ended up not working out, but I ended up meeting my ex, and he was an Air Force nurse. So him and I had that like getting along thing, and we met on this site called FetLife, which is like a fetish website. So we ended up hitting it off and into the same sort of kinks, like for like the BDSM community and stuff. And I ended up being collared to him, and that's when I graduated from school with my bachelor's in environmental science. And
let me stop you right here. First of all, Draven, I really appreciate you being this open. I mean,
yeah,
you would have had a lot of people would not have survived that, and you know, it's a testimony to your strength of character, you know, that you made it through. Let's move on to your first porn gig. How did that come about?
So that happened. I was looking on Craigslist at the time.
What? Come on now. So, Craigslist.
Yes. So like they'll have gigs like, cause I was just basically doing private parties at the time. So like bachelorette parties, whatever, like divorce parties, whatever they wanted. I'd drive to someone's house in costume, do a whole like voiceover act, blah, blah, blah. And then do a dance for the special guest. Then make my rounds around the party if anyone want to tip. After that's over, group shot pictures, and I'm out to the next one. So I try to like hustle those along as quickly as possible throughout a night. And so doing that, I was looking for just because some people post like, oh, we're looking for a male stripper for a bachelor party or bachelorette party or whatever. Just scanning to see what is out there. Sometimes they're just all fake. Sometimes they're legit. So I was looking, and I saw some stuff about modeling. And so when I looked that up, the number was to this guy named Shane Frost. And when I got in contact with him, he's like, well, it's actually gay porn, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, I know porn. And my ex at the time, or my boyfriend at the time, was like, well, you should do it. Like, just, you know, you only get this chance, you know, you're young, you might as well just try it. They're safe, you know, as long as they do testing. And I'm like, all right, cool. And he set me up with Next Door Studios. And and that was the title of that one was Senator Cum Slut, I want to say.
What? Say that again, please. Senator Cum Slut?
Yes. And oh my gosh, that was with, oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank right now. But yeah, that was a fun scene. And getting to like, because doing the whole male stripping thing really caused me to have that stage presence, because I go on stage like twice a night at least for the main stage, and then I hit my side stages. But getting up there, like getting into character, like I did like a, you know, this I did a few different acts like cop, firefighter, cowboy. You do I had like a Carlos Man of Love, which was a Rodney Carrington comedy thing. Do Grease, like all of these things, like you just have to get into character and have fun with. So it was a little bit easier, I feel, from my own experience in porn to get that switch clicked on to where all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I can get in that. Like I'm the senator. I'm like, well, where's my, you know, whoever, you know, I'm going to be playing with today. And then, you know, someone else comes in that I wasn't expecting and they, you know, fuck my butt.
So, because, you know, this is a perfect intro to what I was going to ask you. It's okay. Being a porn actor is certainly a mindset. What's your usual ritual for preparing for a shoot?
It would depend on if I'm topping or bottoming, or if I'm verse in the scene. If I have anything going in my butt, I will take Imodium the night before and the day of. Stops things from really going, and then I get cleaned out in the morning of one of those shower shot things, and just stick that sucker up there until I run clean, and then I can pretty much eat throughout the day. Like I said, I'm trying not to like eat a big meal so I'm not bloated, but I can munch on stuff and I don't have to worry about, am I good? So I'm good. I know for sure when I show up, but sometimes when I show up on set, it takes a while to like get your paperwork done, do all the pictures, the B-roll, and then get like all of the dialogue in there. And by the time you get to sex, it could be maybe like 4 to 6 hours later, you know, it depends on how long and how fast we're able to get through it. And sometimes they run really fast. Sometimes you can be done in like an hour. Sometimes it takes like 6, 8 hours. Sometimes like someone is difficult to like come, or like I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't come, or I can't, you know, get hard. And so it's just, there's a lot of variables that feed into that to really dictate the length of time it's going to take. But I like Imodium because if it does take longer, I don't have to worry. I just do a quick check, like use a dildo or something, be like, yep, I'm good. Like dipstick it, you know, and you're good.
You're talking about the anti-diarrhea medication, Imodium D, that thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh,
lifesaver.
Okay.
Lifesaver.
Whoa, you have given my listeners a lot of insight. This is so good. Okay, you do both gay and bi porn. Do you have that's why I find you very, very, as Mr. Spock would say, fascinating. You do it both. You do both gay, you do bi porn. Mm-hmm. Do you have a preference? And if you do, why?
No, I feel I'm more person sexual because I'm a really kinky boy. So like,
no.
Yes. So it's really about if the other person is fun, respectful, and really dirty and perverted. Like if they're there and they like, you know, being like more dominant and like, and taking control, then I'm like, oh yes, please just do whatever you want to me. But you know, it's difficult to find experienced players. So that's one reason really I'm not hung up on that. I do appreciate a beautiful woman, but my preference leans more towards guys. I would say like in that range of like spectrum, like I would much rather have a boyfriend, but I am not opposed to, you know, trans men, trans women, cis women, whatever they want to call themselves. Like, if they're down to put stuff up my butt and spank me and, you know, dress me up in really kinky things, then we're going to get along just fine.
You kinky man.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I love your work. I've seen a lot of it. Now, you both top and bottom. For me, I find you more appealing as a bottom. That's just me. Let me ask you, do you prefer being top, bottom, or does it even matter to you?
Well, with work,
Yes, work.
It's easier to top for work. For me,
Okay.
it's easier. Just for the simple fact of preparation, but I enjoy bottoming way more. Like it's way easier for me to come if I have something up my butt. Then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'll come right away. But if I'm not and I'm topping, I'm like, okay, let me think of the dirtiest thing I could think of right now, and then just like close my eyes and jerk off, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm ready, let's go, and they're like, okay, action, and then I'm like, oh, I'm coming, and then that's when you see that because they just splice it in. But it's for me personally, I am a bottom. That's who I am. But I get being a more muscular dude, like they push me into that role because I'm I'm in my 30s, so I'm in the daddy role now. And so they'll put me with a lot of twink boys and stuff like that, like especially Icon Male. They always do the whole daddy thing and stuff. And I'm like, I don't care. It's, that's money in my pocket. So I'm okay with it. And I have to like clean up my butthole and like take a not poop for a day.
Yes.
Okay. Like I'll just do, cause I use medication. So like I'm able to do that, and I'm like, I'm good. Like, what position do you want? Like, I'll just do some crazy ass like leg up on the counter, or like a handstand, or like weird stuff that I would never do in my personal life. But they're like, yes, do that. And I'm like, okay, let's do that. Like,
you're a lot of fun, Draven.
Thank you.
Okay, this is what I want to know. What makes a great threesome?
I mean, besides the chemistry, I would say probably some good defined roles, at least for me, like having someone that's, if they're going to be top or whatever like that, like, maintain that. I do like people switching around there, but being a bottom submissive boy, personally for me, I'm like, oh, I'd love to, have like two doms just like use me and spit roast me, or whatever. That's hot for me, but I think it really comes down to that chemistry and whatever power exchange you guys are putting into, what's wanted and what everyone needs, because it's fun to like, have it all about me, but I am definitely like a service sub. So like I like helping and being, making other people come. Like I necessarily don't even have to come. Like for me, it's like getting someone else to like shake an orgasm and do all that fun stuff is like a challenge, I guess. So it's like, let me see what I could do here. And it's fun. So, but that's what I think probably creates that and a lot of lube.
You naughty, naughty guy. Now, Draven, it's time to take a trip to the cake shop.
Let's do it.
Which is a Raging Stallion production. Okay, you did this scene with Mr. Muscle Stud, Jason Vario.
Oh, he's so sweet.
It was totally hot. Would you please set the scene up for us and tell us what the hell happened in that scene?
So the premise of this is that the cake shop is not doing as well as it should be, and they're trying to coming into the cake shop. So my idea would be to start producing some adult films inside this cake shop, and I know just the people to do it. And so I set it all up, and I'm like, don't worry, boss, it'll be okay. And then we get going, and think Leo and Brian actually are doing like production in front of the camera, like, what I'm saying? Like it's showing them like film and stuff like that with lighting. So that's pretty fun too. But oh yeah, Jason, he's bigger dude, like taller wise, and he's another buff guy. So and he's very, very sweet. Like he is super duper, like such a sweetheart. And so it was really nice to work with someone like that, but it's still like they're big and they could like hold me and like fuck me hard. So it was like, it was really nice just to let go and enjoy myself in that situation. And, help out the, owners of the cake shop to, make a little bit more money into their business.
Well, my listeners, Mr. Navarro did just that.
Yes.
So, you need to check out Cake Shop because it's super hot.
Mhm.
So, what projects do you have on tap for the remainder of 2021? Because you've been doing a lot of filming.
Yes. I mean, I've just finished up a couple Bound Gods scenes. I think with Colby Jensen was one of them, and then I think we have another one coming up as well. But I just finished a bi orgy for Biphoria, and that was a lot of fun. It was like 12 people. It was a
my goodness.
lot of work. And then let's see, I have another bi scene coming up on Friday or Saturday, I want to say, is when I have to be in LA. And but besides that, I want to say, is it Adult Time that Mr. Pam is working for now? And I've been hanging out with her recently, and she wants to do something where she where they're going to do a like a male strip show, like a Magic Mike type of thing.
Okay, yeah.
Like the different porn performers, and have a whole storyline with that. So I think that might be in the works. But besides that, I mean, I get hit up randomly, with Icon or some of these other studios last minute sometimes, where they're like, "Hey, can we get you this month?" Or Lance Hart, he's really good at shooting me as well, for Man Up Films, and we do like a lot of like fun, weird stuff, like superhero stuff and wedgies, and it's like I said, that one's a little bit more like niche of a product, but the bigger studios are starting to shoot again, which is great, because for a while there, when everything happened, production completely shut down. And so we're just really working on our OnlyFans, and that's what it's kind of been about since keeping that as, like there's some times where production will shut down, but at least if we're quarantined together or something like that, then I could still shoot with certain people in town and still make some sort of content to where my fans will be able to have something, instead of it just being completely, there's nothing there. And then, I can't pay bills on smiles and hugs. So
that's for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have any live performances for like the end of May through the rest of the year where we could see you live?
I don't think so. Like I said, there's some talk out in Atlanta, but I don't have anything set up yet. I kind of I don't know, maybe 1 month at a time.
Right.
I haven't, with everything starting to open up now, I'm feeling that there's going to be more opportunities, but I'd love to go out to Europe. Once everything calms down, get out to Barcelona and work, with a few studios out there, and just kind of explore a little bit. But besides that, United States wise, I don't have anything planned so much, except for, I think I'm going to be in Texas and San Antonio, end of June. But besides that, just LA here and Vegas. So just going back and forth. But I just, just do my thing, hanging out and doing studio work.
Cool. Well, Draven, how do us grown folk contact you, connect with you, give us all of your social media, your website, Facebook, Twitter, etc.?
I am starting my actual website soon, so be on the lookout for that. That's going to be dravennavarro.com. But until then, I do have an OnlyFans, which is Draven_Navarro. And then I have the same exact handle, Draven_Navarro, for Twitter and Instagram. And so check those out. And I post up as much as I possibly can. I like to take naps and go to the gym. So I try to picture what I can. But then, living life, you're kind of like, especially, I don't know, like, I guess I'm getting old. Like, I'm not used to taking like documentation pictures of like my whole life. I'm just used to like living my life. And so I have to be conscious about posting pictures and like, some of my friends are like, you need to post more. Like, you're not posting enough. I'm like, I know. I'm just procrastinating. I'm pretty good at that. So,
well, listen, Mr. Draven Navarro, thank you for stopping by, Wyatt. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Because you're a busy guy, and I'm so glad you came. You've got to come back.
Definitely will. Yes, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
So there you have it. You can find the official Wyatt podcast page at WyattEvans.com, and the official hashtag is Wyatt on Air. If you want to be a guest on Wyatt, or you just have some comments, feedback, whatever, be kind. Email me at WyattOnAir@gmail.com. And you can follow me, Wyatt O'Brien Evans, your host, on Facebook.com/Wyatt O'Brien Evans. On Twitter at Mr. Woe. That's MISTERWOE. On Instagram at Mr. Wyatt O. MRWYATTO. And be sure to check out my Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels, the latest being Frenzy, and its predecessor, Rage, all at WyattEvans.com. So until next time, y'all, woof, goddammit, woof, 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 woof.